So this is what you see up here, Parshas MISHPATIM. Now if you read MISHPATIM over there, it starts talking right away about a Hebrew slave. And over here the ZOHAR is saying what's underneath all of this is something that's going on in the worlds, the spiritual worlds. And there was a lot in that last year for me to think about. Let's go on. Rabbi Shimon writes, but if the person's soul is not from Olam Yitzira, which is, he said, has to do with people who produce children from Yehudim that take place during the weekday, the Ushavis, which is the seventh, Vadai Maksiv, so certainly, tell me, this is what it writes, Vishvis Yetze the Chav Shechinam, and in the seventh year, he go out Chavshi. Chavshi means free. Chinam. Now, Chinam to me means doesn't owe anything. The tzaddik vadai les be malacha, because a person who's a tzaddik, he really doesn't have toil. He doesn't have to work. Want to know what that means? Came into les be malacha, les be shi'uvud. So since the person is not forced, he doesn't see that his career is the most important thing in his life, his or her life, because now we live in a world where women do the same work as men. He said, came into les be malacha, les be shi'uvud. So since he doesn't have to, that's not considered being indentured, because I think, as we said in the last year, as it goes around and around, even though you say, well, I'm not really indentured, I'm a free man. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to be in the office at 9 every day. You have to work till 5, or whatever your schedule is. Whatever you have to do to get paid. Whatever you have to do, that is a form of being indentured, he said. But then a person, on the other hand, who has a neshama that comes to the side of the Shechina, which is Olam Atzilus, which is very penimistic. The nishvasach of the ihu metam and itman basa. That neshama on which it is said the itman ba uveshvis yetze the chavshe, that in the seventh year will go out for being free. Chinam lis ba shivuda. It means that this person never really becomes indentured. Now you have to see what this actually means. The Jewish people were enslaved in Egypt. And really and truly, our souls were subjugated to the will of the Pharaoh at that time. And we became free men, but free to choose to do the way of truth, which is the way of God and the way of the Torah. And we stood at Sinai. But it's not an easy burden to carry. You have to keep directing yourself away from the evil inclination and to try to get your light from a higher source. Well, let's see what the Metat Vash writes on this. He's writing about Nishbasahim Esitra the Shkinte the Ihu Shavias, which is the seventh. The Shkina represents Malchus. So in counting Chesed Gevurah Teferes Netzach Hod, Yisod, that's 6, and Malchus is 7. So when you get to the seventh year, which is Malchus, he says, Im Haneshama Nechseves Mitzad HaShchina, when it's carved out from the side of the Shechina, Shehi Sphira HaShviz Mechazat Atzilus, which is the seventh. We're looking at the 7 lower spheres. Zat means Zayin Tachtoinos, the 7 lower spheres that Atzilus. Sheneshama Kazu Nimshachas Ayedecha Bezivuk, because this neshama really, it streams as a result of a yichud shene'asa b'leil Shabbos that takes place at a certain time. And what time is that? That time is the time of Shabbos. Now you see on a deeper level, because I've read this a bunch of times, but each time I read it, it looks a little bit different. The time that you have the yichud really depends on where the soul that is born will generate. Vadai maksiv. So, first, certainly, what is written? B'neshama kazul, the neshama the v'shviz, in the 7th year. Pirish Adam kazul kazan. Shenismasha mechashchina shehi shviya. So it comes from the Shechina, which is Malchus, which is the 7th sphere of the 7 tachtonos of Zeranpin. Avki harbe lepeshoa v'choya roy lekabel onish. Even though that I don't know what this means. Harbe lepeshoa, pesha means sin. V'choya roy lekabel onish. Al yedei gilgul shel shivud malacha. Now he's saying something I didn't think he was going to say. Let me read it again. Ki af harbe lepeshoa, the person did a lot of things wrong. V'choya roy lekabel onish, and because of that, those needed to be cleansed from him, and the person is roy or fit to receive his punishment. Ayedei gilgul shal shivud malachok bezeha olim, because and how would he cleanse himself? By becoming indentured back into the cycles of this world. Remember, this is a world. It's a world outside of the Garden of Eden. Coats v'dardar. You're going to have the thorns and thistles are going to be wherever you go. In other words, there going to be pain in this world to be able to make a living, to be able to survive. And all of these wars that we talk about, they're all about starving people or people that need to survive. So we'll see what happens. To me, the United States where I'm living right now looks like a ripe apple to a lot of people. And you see what's happening, what they're allowing to happen. Im calls but even so, by reaching that level, I'm not sure what that means, he goes out and he becomes free. Now he says, why is this? It's because this is a neshama that was created at the time of a yichud that takes place after midnight, get this, of the night of Shabbos, Friday night. Im kol zecha b'yetze d'chav shechina, pirush, lo yishta'ave b'gilgula, he would not be enslaved into have to come back again. B'tam adavar, what's the reason? That tzaddik vaday liz bei malacha, because we have this phrase, that a tzaddik, the righteous person, how did he be righteous? We said before that he did a lot of sinning. But tzaddik vaday liz bei malacha. Ki ha-yisod nikra tzaddik. Now he goes into the Ari. The Ari explains like this. The Yisod, that is the midah called Yisod, which is the place of the sexual organ of a person, as you see it manifest in people. Yisod and Nikra Tzaddik, because it's called the righteous one, the saint. Vaday ein b'cha melechas haboror shel haneshamas. It doesn't have to go through the birur process, that is to become refined. It doesn't have to go through that because it comes from such a high place. Ki hu mamshech neshamas chadashos, because it's causing to stream down new neshamas. Mimakar neshamas, from the fountain of neshamas, v'locha b'makom abara, and not from a place which is refined out. Now I'm not sure what bora means. Bora does mean to refine, the berera, so it means it really to refine something out, to choose between. But so I'm not sure exactly what he means. So since it's not indentured, it doesn't have to become indentured. So what does that mean? So since this is Shama, coming from Olam Atzilus, which doesn't have the malacha, it doesn't have to go through the refinement process, okay? I'm just trying to understand what he means, because he says that there is a neshama that doesn't have to go through refinement because it's closer to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu to begin with. And as a result of that, it wasn't mined out. What does mined out mean? Mined out means that through our prayers and so on and so forth, we're able to take this. This what I think he means by a berera here. He says that we're able to be mevarer the sparks of kedusha through our prayers and our Torah. We're able to bring up, and then that is the berera that we're talking about, the refining process. So he says, let's go. The ihu mitamen. So a neshama that comes from this higher place, it didn't have to go through birur. That's the word I was trying to get, birur. It doesn't have to go through birur, to the refinement process. It says of a neshama shahu misham, that comes from that is the olam atzilus. That's actually carved out. It's a chelik of the shkina. Who's always being built out of neshamas chadashos, more aspects of godliness that are pouring into the yesod. And this brings back to the fact that there's a yichud that takes place in kedusha there. The Emar Ba, it's said in regards to her, v'shvi'is yetze l'chav shechinam, and in the 7th year would go out free for nothing. What's kachinam? Pirush. Lis ba shivuda, that it will never have to come back and be meshuvad to a world that really doesn't make any sense. It goes around and around and around, and nothing really changes. Ein ba shivud malacha, it doesn't have to go to the shiva malacha klal. If you have to go into the 9 to 5 thing, doesn't happen. Ella tistakim b'masha osid b'torah b'mitzvahs, but actually everything that needs to be fixed can be done through Torah and mitzvahs. So this is Baruch Fleischman. This is the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and this I think is the 4th shir in, well, Parshas MISHPATIM, Tikkun Elevator Kollel.